I'm saying, what is the one thing that a bald man never has in his house?
I would say maybe a hair, like a bottle of hair gel.
Hair gel दूर की बात है यार. Something that you would use every day.
Okay, so not a hair dryer because I definitely don't use that every day.
Oh, that's what he said.
Uh,
No, no, hello, you heard it first. Go on.
Hair dryer is only for special occasions, dude. Or rather when I'm running late for something and I need to dry my hair quickly.
Okay. Still not what I was looking for, though.
No, I cannot think of this. What is your what is the answer?
The answer is a comb.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, I mean, if someone to brush, is what the fuck comb? Who's going to, what am I going to brush?
Huh.
On
On that hilarious note, welcome to episode 17 of the No Balls Cricket Podcast, where thankfully we don't this time the only hair conversation is SP ragging on himself instead of me.
still the
Me or
sexiest
me
looking
ragging.
ball, still the sexiest looking ball man in the universe.
Yes, definitely in your country when your competition is Prince William.
Yeah, good point. Wait, 1 minute. What competition do I have in the US?
I don't know. Plenty.
I could make some bold claims. I'm not going to. All right, carry on.
Yes, as I was saying, episode 17, we we wanted to do a roundup, but literally there's only been one game of cricket since we last recorded. Bangladesh beat Sri Lanka. That is the important thing to know.
That's it. That's basically the roundup. Moving on.
They broke a 10 match win streak. If you want to keep laughing at something, Sri Lanka are now 12th out of 12 in the ODI Super League. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just put this into perspective. Bangladesh broke a losing streak, which is what, 10 games or something,
Yeah.
only to have another
10 match.
losing streak that will happen after this, which will be even longer.
You never know. They're playing Sri Lanka again.
This is also true.
Yeah. What else? The Pakistan Super League, which is like the T20 league that very few people actually care about, uh, is back on, and it will be after having been suspended for coronavirus reasons. It will be resuming in June 1st. They have rejig squads and whatnot. You guys can look it up because we don't really watch the
No,
PSL.
moving on.
Shahid Afridi is injured. Shahid Afridi also somehow is still playing cricket.
He's still
Kind of
alive?
unrelated. Yes, there is
All
that.
of Pakistan is angry at me now.
What do you
Now
mean
that I
still
have your
alive?
attention.
Eight second. What do you mean still alive? He's only 25 years old.
Oh shit, sorry. Yeah, you have a point there. He's in the prime of his youth. Okay,
um,
now that we have gladly pissed off the entire country of Pakistan, can we now go on to our main event? We are back to our
yes.
20-minute segment, which we will start.
Okay, so the most annoying news that's happened in the last week in cricket world one of the most annoying things, because we have more annoying things that'll come on later, is so people might have seen there's this entire plan that is now probably I think 99% confirmed or maybe even 100% confirmed where the India-England test series, which was supposed to be a five-test series, it is still a five-test series, but now it is going to be four tests, then the remainder of the IPL, then the fifth test to be
Acha,
held in England. So
so to be to
to
so 1 minute, no. So this is the unofficial version. The official version is the BCCI has asked the ECB to prepone, very Indian word. In case you're not listening to it in India, it means bring forward. Um, bring forward the beginning of the test series by a week so they can finish all five tests and then have the IPL immediately after, between that and the World T20. That is the official version of things. The ECB has not gotten back to it. However, there were also some unconfirmed reports saying that the ECB were the ones that were going to host the IPL. Now, I have been in England for the last 6 or 8 months. Okay, I have been told that there is summer. It is 7 degrees outside. It is not summer.
In any case, if they do host the remainder of the IPL, it'll be in September. At which point it will again still not be summer.
Still not be
Whatever
summer.
whatever summer you will have had, it will be gone by then.
Do you know how in Bombay you used to have 2 weeks of winter, which was basically Jan 1st to Jan 14th, and then it became hot again. Correct? You remember this?
Yes. The two
I
weeks
ha-
of winter where it was 20 degrees and everyone decided they needed sweaters.
Correct. Now, after having lived here for 6 months, I'm thinking that the same thing. This is, you know what we say for winter, they say for summer. We have 2 weeks of summer, July 1st to July 14th. उसके बाद ठंडा हो जाता है. Then
It's
people,
worth.
no, and
Should
just
I
to
piss you? Should I piss you off again?
go
I'm
on.
just wondering. No, I was just so yeah, we were supposed to be recording this yesterday, and then I decided to postpone it because great weather broke out here in New York. It is 30, 31 degrees, bright, sunny, perfect. Go sit outdoors and have a pint weather, which we can do here now. And yes, that took precedence over his 5 degree weather and staying inside.
Oh, I was sitting outside in the fucking pissing rain. Yeah, it was beautiful. Anyway, uh,
Coming back to the cricket.
coming back to the cricket because we'll talk shit for hours. So here's the thing. So that little Twitter press release that you saw turned out to be fake. That has not been confirmed yet.
Right.
However, if that is the case, Jesus fucking Christ, you want to play a test match in Manchester in October? Have you lost your minds? It's 5
You may
degrees
as well just cut. You may as well just cut it down to 4 tests.
exactly.
Because that test is not going to be played enough. It'll be rain for 3-4 days.
Rain? It'll probably be snowing.
Fair point.
No, but okay, look, basic point here is Ganguly came out and said it very clearly. If they don't finish the IPL, the Indian uh, politicians in control of the BCCI lose $330 million.
Right.
That is the bottom line. Basically, their bottom line is the bottom line.
Yeah.
Right. It hurts
No,
everybody.
the IPL will be completed. There's no. It is just one of those realities of, like, we can argue morals and should it be about finances and whatnot, but forget it. That is the reality. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. So, much like they're finishing the PSL, they will finish the IPL.
Yeah. Where it is and when it is in doubt.
वो पता नहीं, that's a different story.
Let's also not forget that even the World T20, which is supposed to be in October in India, is in doubt for obvious reasons.
I mean, that's not in doubt. That's probably going to get shifted to the UAE. That I can give,
in doubt in the sense, yeah, whether it will happen in India is my point.
I mean, I can give you that in writing that is shifting to the UAE. If it happens in India by some bloody miracle of God, second coming of Christ, third coming of Ram, fourth coming of Muhammad the Prophet and his, yeah, I'm just naming every religion now so I don't have to be.
Yes, that is what it would take for the IPL and World T20 to happen in India again anyway.
Exactly.
But
the only good thing out of this entire situation, and I'm going to end this because we've already gone 5 minutes on this. The only good news from this is the fact that most of the English internationals, if the IPL were to happen in England, most of the English internationals would play the IPL, not the 100.
And anything that kills the 100 is good.
Literally anything that kills the 100 is good news for us.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.
Moving on to the main event. So there's been this huge, I mean, it goes beyond a Twitter kerfuffle, so though that's what we've seen from it. But basically, the BCCI has, in shocking news to most of the cricketing world, the BCCI has shafted its women's cricket setup. I know, shock horror.
Oh my God.
So and this has been, I mean, obviously it's not like something, this is some new issue for Indian cricket, but just to run down what's happened in the last 2 weeks. Firstly, the central contracts got announced. The highest contract value for women's cricket is 50 lakh rupees. Just to put it in perspective, I think the smallest central contract is 3 crores for Indian men.
The C grade is something like 3. No, it's 1.5 crores. I think. I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You get some like the A+ grade is like 7 crore or 10 crore or something like that. But basically, we're talking different stratospheres of numbers here. So firstly, that got announced. Then we found out yesterday or sometime over the weekend that the bonus or the prize money that the Indian women were supposed to receive for reaching the World T20 final, the last edition of the tournament, they haven't been paid that yet. It's been like over a year now. Um, Over a year, or it was late last year. I can't remember
No,
which.
it's been
Uh,
over a year. It was March of 2020.
so March, yeah, so just over a year. And yeah, so
If I'm
basically,
not mistaken, it was the last major sporting event before the pandemic enforced the
yeah,
lockdown, basically.
yeah, yeah. So that happened, and today it's finally been announced that the BCCI has asked everyone who's in that squad to please send invoices so that they can be paid, because apparently the BCCI does not otherwise know how to pay salaries and prize money unless
One
there are
year later,
contracts.
one second, let's put this into perspective. 1 year later, richest cricket board in the world, moaning about IPL not finishing and the $330 million that they are about to make.
Yeah,
Put
but
that
yeah,
into perspective,
so
please.
it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Uh, it, since this person is going to feature somewhat, if not prominently, in our conversations, we should give you some context. Most people who follow Indian cricket will know that there is this supremely respected journalist who calls himself, whose name is Boria Majumdar, and he apparently has called himself or described himself as saying that he has a PhD in cricket. Um, and
Wait, ये तो
he
चोरी
has.
किया ना. One sec. Before you go on, ये तो साला चोरी किया है यार. Dino was the professor. Now that he's dead, this fucker wants to steal that.
So now Dr. Majumdar of Indian Cricket University or whatever has decided to take up the cause of defending the BCCI in this, giving us all the standard arguments about how women's cricket is not revenue generating and it's not about BCCI and blah blah blah. All of this shit is happening, and he is rightly being pilloried by most people who can use a brain, unlike him. But yeah, it's basically just it's basically just a very no, it's a normal and not entirely shocking, but still sad state of affairs for women's cricket when it comes to India.
Very misogynistic and I mean it just reeks of bad management of can't say bad management because the way they handle the men's team is some other planet only, man.
Yeah,
There was also news that um, so of course see now in the last 2 weeks the BCCI announced that the women's team were going to tour England. Obviously, we knew they were going to tour England, but they were also playing a test match in England. And they announced that in September they were going to tour Australia, and they're playing a day-night test, the first ever day-night test for Indian women in Australia.
yeah,
On that tour there, right?
yeah.
So they made the squad announcement for the England series. They dropped this bombshell on us, right? The squad announcement for the England series, no press releases, just a blurb on their Twitter handle and their on their website.
Yeah.
Right. Then teams gathering in Mumbai for the essentially for the bubble before they come across to England for their respective tours. All of the men's players were flown in on chartered flights. All of the women had to fly commercial. Now, bear in mind the situation that is currently engulfed the country of India with regards to COVID.
Yeah.
So
commercial flights are anyway not a. I mean, anyway that disparity is stupid. But then when you're putting commercial flights in the middle of this, the other thing is, I mean, there are many more other things in this context. This test match that is happening for in England is going to happen at the exact same time as the World Test Championship final, because for some reason they couldn't, prepone it or delay it by 4 or 5 days. So that, because right now all that means is it's going to clash with the men's team playing, and of course, that means they're just going to get less exposure because the more eyeballs are going to go one place rather than the other. They also, women's cricket, most of these players haven't played like a proper full length first class game in years, in quite a long time. So they're going to come in undercooked. That day-night test that you've mentioned, if you remember, if everyone will remember how with the men's cricket setup, there was this opposition to playing day-night cricket just because the Indian men didn't want to go in undercooked. Like they wanted pink ball practice, all of that. So that happened. 2-3 trials happened, then a practice match happened, got used in Ranji, whatever.
1 minute.
Then
in order for the Indian men's team to practice with the pink ball, they basically fed Bangladesh to Shami. That was
Exactly.
the story. Ha.
Exactly. And even then, to be fair, I mean, India still got slaughtered on the final day of that Australia test, but
That,
that's
that, that's not going to.
that's a separate
Yeah,
that's a
why do you want to
separate
depress people? Yeah.
that's a separate point. Point being, in the Indian women are going to go into that day-night test in Australia completely cold because most of them will never have played a full-length game in most games. None of them will have played a full-length game in with a pink ball under the lights.
You know what? I actually doubt I seriously, sincerely doubt that a lot of them would have ever played with the pink ball to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if you guys follow women's cricket and you know anything about it, test matches are very, very rare commodities. India haven't played one in almost 7 years. The last one was
Yeah.
against South Africa in 2014. That's a long time
So
between
yeah.
test matches.
Yeah. Yep. So, and sorry, what I meant when I said first class cricket, I meant test cricket, not first class. The first class cricket they have been playing, but obviously not for the last year or so, a year and a half or so, when the pandemic has blocked
And
all
and,
women's cricket.
and
Though the
yeah,
Ranji Men's Trophy happened.
the Vijay Hazare Trophy happened and all of that. And I mean, so the women come in completely undercooked. There's no first class, there's no sort of domestic cricket going on. They haven't played a series since they lost to South Africa 4-1, and they looked completely underdone, just ill prepared for it.
Which they were, because there was
Oh,
very little prep time. Yeah.
on top of that, one more thing that people have sort of ignored. There was a bit of a kerfuffle because they changed coaches again. Um, WV Raman had stated in a sort of letter that he'd sent to Mr. Ganguly, the president of the BCCI, stating that if he had been removed from his post as coach for anything other than sporting reasons, it would be a big calamity. We know that. And the reason I'm going into this is because the person that has been reappointed women's coach is Ramesh Pawar, who had
Yeah.
his own kerfuffle with Mithali Raj a few years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a very bizarre situation. And like, firstly, I find it very hard to believe that there are literally only two people they can find to be coaches. They go from Ramesh Pawar to WV Raman to back to Ramesh Pawar. I'm sure there are more people out there. I thought Ramesh Pawar did a good job as coach, but obviously it's not just about results and tactics. And, you have to be able to have good relationships and management with your players, which, Ramesh Pawar, I think on that front was questionable.
And the funny thing is, the first thing he's going to be in charge of is a women's tour where Mithali Raj is captain of the one-day team and the test team.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
so I don't know what the point is there.
No, forget that. Secondly, FICA has come out and said that it is high time that the Indian cricketers actually became a part of their association. If no one knows what FICA is, I'm just going to clarify this quickly because we're down to 5 minutes on this, by the way. So FICA is basically the Federation of the International Cricketers Association, right? Each member country of FICA has a representative on the board, and FICA is represented at all ICC meetings by a chosen head, right? So that's basically
it's like a players' union. Basically.
It's a players' union essentially, right? Except there are only two countries that are not part of FICA. Can you guess which two they are?
I can guarantee one of them is India. The second one I did not know about actually.
The other one's Pakistan.
I thought you meant that.
Yeah. So
that was going to be my guess.
There's only two countries that have no representatives on the FICA board. Now, I'm not saying that you go down the fucking West Indian route and, have everything turned to shit in terms of trying to get a FICA representative and have all that happen. But Wavell Hines, tip your hat. Sorry, had to get that one out there. My West Indian brothers will know what I'm talking about. No, but so I'm not saying that the cricketers have had in general, the men's cricketers have had a rather good relationship with the board. I don't think they've been shafted at any point. But here you're seeing a state where I think the women's cricketers desperately need an association because it's not getting bizarre. It's just getting to the point where this is now insulting. Like, why are y'all even playing?
It is genuinely insulting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. There's been chronic mismanagement of women's sports all across the world. It's systemic, it's societal. We can get into all of that. But the point is, even once you take into consideration all of that, here, this particular thing is just ridiculous. The way the Indian cricket setup has treated the Indian women's team. and women's players.
And bear in mind, this is the biggest and most cash-rich cricket board in the world.
Yeah. Which also we one thing we didn't mention still hasn't been they still can't figure out how to make a women's IPL happen despite having promised one for a long time.
No, they don't. They can make it happen. Whether they want to or not, that's a whole other story.
Point point being, yeah, like
Yeah,
that the can't figure out part was sarcastic.
can't figure out. But we know where this all leads, right?
I do we know where it all leads?
Yeah, India will not have a women's team after 2021.
Do you really think it's just going to get all disbanded?
I mean, the way they're going, not paying them, insulting them to their face, yeah, probably. We're crying shame because we actually have a good team.
We have a good team. We have good young players who have been
Yeah, we
coming
have
up in
some
the
really
last
good young players come
few
through. I mean,
years.
people like Smriti Mandana. Oh, and of course, we haven't mentioned Veda Krishnamurthy at all.
Oh yeah,
And
completely
I
forgot about
mean,
it.
that was
That's a particularly sad part of like this entire contract kerfuffle.
okay. So I'm just gonna briefly summarize. She loses her mother and her sister to COVID in the same week, I think it was.
Yeah,
Um, of course, the BCCI does not mention, bring it up, offer nothing, right? They don't offer any help. 2 weeks later, when the central contracts are announced, she's the only one who misses out.
yeah,
So, I mean, now I'm not saying you should be given a central contract, on compassionate grounds or whatever. But I mean, you can at least, there should have been an approach to try and help the situation. And it's just,
yeah. No,
it's appalling.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I genuinely believe that she's actually one of the few players that if she comes, gets it like she's a talented cricketer, man. If she gets it together, nothing could stop her. Real power hitter,
No,
clear
absolutely. She's
fences, good
yeah.
batsman. Yeah. Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, as
and
we were
that and you just can't you wouldn't imagine that happening in the men's game at all.
no, but would you? So the question now is, forget the men's game for a second. Would you imagine it happening in England or Australia? Because that's who you're competing with
No,
and who you're comparing yourself
no, I
to.
don't. No, I wouldn't.
I mean, New Zealand, of course, have instituted that the women get paid for maternity leave as well. So that's been included in their contracts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look at where, on the one hand, you have England, Australia, and New Zealand going in one direction. And then the BCCI sort of going completely in the opposite. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. A lot of countries, I mean, everywhere has to play catch up. A lot of countries have, started doing an okay job of playing catch up. We rip on the 100 a lot, but it actually probably would have been very good for women's cricket in both England and, for women's cricketers who are participating from elsewhere. But like what India is doing, India's not alone, but I think we are more clued into the India situation, and it's just it's a continuation, but it's also just really shockingly bad.
And I'm sorry, anybody who tries to defend the BCCI in this situation needs a tight slap.
needs to have their needs to have their PhDs revoked. the self-declared PhD.
Self-declared PhD. Oh, those are our 20 minutes as well. We only have one other thing to mention on this, since we've covered pretty much all of women's cricket, or at least the issues that we've known about Indian women's cricket. The last thing I want to add before we move on to the last little bit of the podcast this week, we have some really good players coming through. I mean, you just look at, okay, Mithali Raj and Jhulan Goswami obviously have been around forever, but you look at people like Harmanpreet Kaur, Smriti Mandana, Jemimah Rodrigues,
Deepti Yadav.
Yeah, Deepti Yadav, Poonam Yadav as well. Sorry, Deepti Sharma, Poonam Yadav.
Sorry,
Poonam Raut as well.
There's some really good players who've also performed at the highest stage.
Oh, and I'm forgetting the 16-year-old Shefali Verma. Leading run scorer in that World T20. So yeah, I mean, honestly, if people spend the time and the money on the women's game, we're not far away
Yeah.
from being number one.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not far
And
away at all.
the other the other part, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe just because I come from that media and sort of marketing background, but like there are some really fun personalities there, and like
There
really,
are, I mean,
marketable people. Like
yeah,
Harmanpreet Kaur, she's got this. She. I mean, most of the times in interviews, she comes off as respectful as most Indian cricketers do, but she plays with a chip on her shoulder. She also has like great banter with other.
yeah.
With people from other countries. Jemima Rodriguez is like hilarious. Just watch her
Jemima
on
Rodriguez, I
Instagram.
was just going to say, have you seen her YouTube channel? Her and
Yeah,
Smriti Mandana
I
have a
have.
very, very fun YouTube channel. So if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's quite enlightening because they do have a lot of uh, obviously Indian men's cricketers on as well, and
Yeah,
yeah,
these are quite fun people. They're like, it's not even a case of like there's money to be spent, and there are people who, the whole sport deserves it, but there are also people who can like help the game shine in India.
yeah, definitely. I mean, you literally. I mean, I think the biggest sort of most marketable personality in women's cricket is Elise Parry. I think if you have someone of that sort of, I mean, you can get people like Jemima Rodriguez to come out and be that kind of marketable
Yeah,
personality. Yeah, it could work.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it is a crying shame what BCCI has done in general, but especially under Saurav Ganguly and Jay Shah's leadership.
I mean, we knew it was coming, but we're just disappointed, man. We're just
Yeah.
disappointed. We knew it was happening, and we know it's been happening, but just the reality has finally hit home for all of us. So, sorry to be a little bit of a downer. Now, on to some happy news. Let's talk about Darren Stevens.
Darren Stevens. So, in case we have any.
Oh, sorry. Before you do that, I woke up. So, on Saturday morning, right? I wake up, of course, tons of birthday messages and all that. But in the midst of all of that, was
Oh yeah, we should say belated happy birthday to our very own club cricketer.
Thank you. But in the midst of all of those messages, my cousin sent me this absolute clanger. So he lives in Singapore, right? And I don't think the dude has played cricket in about 20 years, right? So he sends me this text with the Darren Steven link to whatever Darren Steven had done the previous day. And he's like, Sid, I just turned 40. Do you think I can get a county contract?
So I was just going to give context here. Darren Stevens is 45 years old. He's still playing cricket in the English County Championship. He has just most recently in his exploits is an innings of 190, which includes a partnership of 165 with noted West Indian fast bowler Miguel Cummins. In that partnership, I tried keeping a straight face waiting for your reaction.
You can't do that and say notable fast bowler. Beautiful. Carry on.
Yes. So that partnership of 165, Miguel Cummins scored 1 run.
This is the best bit, right? So out of the partnership of 165, right? Darren Stevens has made 160 of 108 balls because he went absolutely berserk. Miguel Cummins has made 1 from 55.
Great, outstanding rear guard.
Outstanding innings.
I mean, listen, ask any West Indian right now. Would they rather have Miguel Cummins batting in that form or Shannon Gabriel?
Listen, 1 minute. You cannot bring up Shannon Gabriel. Okay. Do you know this whole argument about I want someone to bat for my life kind of thing? Here's one person I don't want to bat at all for anything. Keep him away.
I can't wait till this episode, till the Guyana crew catches a hold of this episode and gets reminded of Shannon Gabriel one more time.
Oh no, I do this every year. So I think the anniversary was
the Shannon Gabriel Day was like a couple of weeks ago.
I should just be known as Shannon Gabriel Day with the soundtrack that says, "Why did he do that?"
There should be West Indies should literally declare a holiday, National Day of Mourning. I mean, it can't be a national day. Multiple countries should declare national days of mourning. One for Shannon Gabriel, and the second one should be
one for all the four.
No, the second one should be. I'll tell you what the second one should be. The second one should be the day Tino Best didn't mind the windows. And the clip that does the round should just be Flintoff saying, "Mind the windows, Tino."
Watch the windows, Tino. Oh my
Anyway,
God.
back to Dan.
Anyway, back to Darren Stevens. Wow, we went off on a tangent there. Coming back.
Yes,
Uh,
Dan Stevens is 45 years old. He's taken nearly 250 first-class wickets since turning 40. He is also smashing people like Michael Nesser, who can bowl at 90, 95 miles an hour over their heads in first-class cricket.
no, one minute, one minute,
Um,
one minute, one minute. Michael Neser cannot bowl 90, 95 miles an hour.
I think one of the balls clocked in at 92, man. This is what I read. I
From
haven't
Michael
seen it.
Neser, he's a swing bowler. What? Dude, stop giving misinformation.
You know what? I'm looking up this article right now.
Go on then. And you
This
know
is in the Guardian.
the beauty
This
of
is in the
this,
Guardian.
the beauty of this is I am not editing this part out. This is going to remain on our podcast.
No, okay, fine. So this is how the Guardian describes it. They didn't say 92. They said Michael Neser, a 90 miles per hour Australian international seamer. There you go. Is smashed over his head. That is
He's
the exact
played
line from the
one
Guardian.
test match, and I remember he never crossed 135 kilometers. Anyway,
I'm just saying, this is the Guardian saying he's a 90 miles an hour international seamer.
which writer is this?
This is Jonathan Liu, who's actually pretty good as a writer.
Yeah, but
So
Liu
there
knows
you-
nothing about cricket. He's Chinese.
What?
So-
Firstly, he's English. Secondly, there's no need that the Chinese don't know anything about cricket. For all you know, in the next 20 years, they'll have produced a cricket team that will win the World Cup, given the way they produce athletes these days.
Listen, at this point, anybody can produce a cricket team and manage it better than the BCCI. That's not an achievement.
Point being, we are not ripping on the Chinese for not understanding
we're
cricket.
not,
Some
we're
of
not.
them.
We just assumed that because Jonathan Liu is of Chinese origin, we thought he didn't know anything about cricket.
Anyway. But yes, so Michael Neser is hitting supposedly 90 mile an hour bowlers over the head at the age of.
Listen,
There's now, I think, a small campaign happening to get him selected for the Ashes series this year.
listen, I have a feeling in this weather in England right now, if you hit 80, it feels like 90.
Maybe that.
Because,
The Ashes this year are not happening in England, so that won't be the case if he's bowling. And we should let everyone know Darren Stevens does not touch anywhere close to 90. He barely touches 75 on the speed gun. But there's now
However,
a campaign.
he
to
is
get
the
him in
James
the Ashes.
Anderson of county cricket.
Yes.
But,
Oldest player to take a fifer in county cricket history.
But hang on, let's put a little caveat here. Caveat is, if Devraj bowled in 5-degree weather, even he would pick up that many wickets.
That beautiful wrist position.
That beautiful
down.
wrist position with the seam pointing towards square leg. Oh my God. Okay.
But in reverse swing conditions, it will end up with third slip. Not after hitting the bat, just straight.
Oh my God. Okay. I wish I had more clips of Devraj bowling now. But anyway.
Yes.
On that very happy, fun note, it is time to end. However, before we go, we have two things to add. First of all, we would like to reach out back again to our favorite Somalian-born Russian Test cricketer.
Yes, someone please look up Rob Moody's Test cricket credentials.
He's the only Somalian-born Russian Test cricketer on earth.
He
Rob,
also
I don't know where you get this from. Anyway.
Yes. He's also been triggering a lot of people who don't like the fact that he's making fun of Akash Chopra, to whom I say, what else do you do with Akash Chopra?
I have a very bad joke that I'm about to crack. Very bad joke. Very bad joke. I don't want to say it, but I will. You know what you do with Akash Chopra? Akash Vani.
What Akash Chopra should not do is Akash Vani.
Akash Vani.
Basically.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, and also on our last episode, little shout out, hat tip to Mr. Ramesh Speaks, who genius parody account. Please go check it out. We all know he hates Ramesh Raja as much as we do.
Yes. Hopefully he spots us again. This part of this segment of the episode is dedicated purely to him.
And Yeah, that's our show. Obviously we got a bit serious and then we kind of went off the boil as we usually do. Um,
Yes.
Serious notes to take away. If you are watching on YouTube, remember to like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon. Don't do Florentino Perez's drugs and say cheese. Have I covered everything?
Yes, if you're listening rather than watching, then you've got just subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and Podcast Addict. I would say do Florentino Perez's drugs because they seem like they're crazy good, judging by the shit he talks.
Have you seen that one where apparently because there's no Real Madrid players in the Spanish Euros team, Florentino Perez is going to start his own European Super League team, Spanish Super League.
Spain 2021.
Spain 2021, indeed.
On that hilarious note, non-cricketing hilarious note, we shall take your leave. See you, people.
Bye bye.